Hello everyone, myself Siddharth Shah, a qualified chartered accountant as well as a company secretary, and at present we are going to cover the chapter 4 of business commercial knowledge, in which we are going to cover the MCQs of Naukar material. We have already gone through with the explanation part. We have already covered the MCQs of ICI material. Now we are going to take the MCQs from the Naukar material. I hope you have the books with you and just look at it along with it. Very first one. Again, I would remind you, this MCQs are purely based on module only. I have myself personally picked up few of them and tried to jumble it up in the best manner possible, but still these MCQs are purely belonging to module. There may be a chance that the answer may vary with the practical reality and the module. So for the present time, I would suggest you to go with the ICI module only. Don't think about the practical realities. There are few chances wherever there would be. I would be personally highlighting that again and again, but still don't mislead yourself with the practical realities, because for the purpose of exams you are required to learn whatever ICI says. Let us start with the Naukar material MCQs. The number one, which one of the following are age-old universities of India? Takshashila, Vishali and Nalanda. Yeah, all of them are correct. They are the age-old universities of Indian economy. These institutions were the pioneers in the field of education. You can even say that for the world, not only for India. Next, BRICS nation includes the following. Yeah, it is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and all of the above are the correct answer because they all are the part of BRICS. Now there is a big story behind BRICS. I would recommend you to just go through that through internet. Not required from my end any explanation on that, just because it is not part of your course. But yeah, you must be aware about what is happening due to BRICS. India is the only country which was shaking out of BRICS, and now we are working on it to make ourselves more stronger, and that's why our Prime Minister at the present time, Narendra Modi, is working very hard and day and night on the same subject matter. Just have a look on it. Good topic to know about for the purpose of knowing Indian economy, as well as knowing what is happening around and surround to you. Next, LPG stands for the simple, it is the most simplest question. It is liberalization, privatization and globalization. It is not any that LPG cylinders. Next, dash economic policy refers to global gradual decrease in government command and controls. Yeah, that is what we say, that a constant reduction into the level of restrictions and controls by the government is nothing but bringing liberalization in any economy. Answer is liberalization. India frequently observes the use of the black box model. Yeah, India surely uses that. The statement is true or false? Yeah, it is true. Next, Coca-Cola was driven out from India in dash due to dash. There are 4 reasons given into this. The first one is it was driven out in 1976, was not good in taste. That is one reason. Another, it is 1977, the ruling party believed in Swadeshi concept. Third is 1977, people of India preferred some different soft drinks rather than Coca-Cola, named as Socio and all. And fourth one is none of the above. Answer would be nothing but B. 1977 was the year when Coca-Cola was driven out. Even after bringing them to India, it was driven out of India. The only reason was the ruling party at that time believed in Swadeshi product. You may have heard about Indians and Indian concepts, that we believe in ourselves and we believe in our goods only. This was Swadeshi concept which was taken up by them at that time. Next, which of the following is not a characteristic of public policy? Again, mark this question as important. Public policy is a goal oriented. Yeah, it is a goal oriented. Next, public policy represents the outcome of government collective actions. Yeah, it also represents the outcome of government's collective actions. Public policy is in positive sense despiting the concerns of government. Yeah, that is also true. It is always despiting the major concerns of the government, what government want to achieve. And next is public policy is a continuous process. Yeah, that last statement is more important, that it is continuous process. It goes on and on and on and on with the changes and with the amendments year on year. So finally answer would be none of the above. All of them are the characteristics of a public policy. Next, which are the law making bodies in India of the following? Number one, the parliament at the central level, legislative assembly at the state level. C, both of the above. D, none of the above. Obviously both of the above. As well as the center and both the center and the states are allowed to make laws for their own territory. Center can make for whole of the India, state can make for only the specific limits of the state. Just to give an example, in Gujarat we had Gujarat VAT Act. In the same manner, center has its own powers and it can issue central excise duty act. So that is the way both of them can make their own laws. Next, Indian Parliament consists of A, two types of houses, that is Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. B, two houses, that is House of People and Council of States. Now this is more important to understand, that Lok Sabha is also known as House of People and Rajya Sabha is known as Council of States. So answer is almost same only, but they are given in different options so that you would get confused, but don't be, because Naukar is there for you. C, we can say it is the right answer, both of the above. Next, the process of lawmaking in India is broadly divided into dash number of stages. Yeah, it is divided into 3 stages, which are the pre-legislation, legislative and post-legislation kind of feedback and kind of after implementation scenarios. Next, question 27. Which of the following is not the stage to law-making process in India? A, pre-legislative, B, legislative, C, post-legislative, D, none of the above. Obviously none of the above. All the 3 are the stages to lawmaking in India. Next, question number 28. Which of the following is not a part of pre-legislative stage of lawmaking? To identify a need of a new law, yeah, it is a part of pre-legislative stage. Drafting of proposed law, yeah, it is also a part of pre-legislative stage. Getting the draft bill vetoed by the law ministry, means overviewed by the law ministry, yeah, that is also a part of pre-legislative. But introduction of bill in parliament, that is not at all a part of pre-legislative, it is a part of legislative stage. Next, so D would be the answer. Which of the following is not a part of pre-legislative stage of lawmaking? Referring the bill to standing committee, again that is not a part of post-legislative stage, that is a part of legislative stage. Introduction of bill in parliament, again that is a part of this legislative stage. Third, feedbacks from industries and public after introduction, now again it is a part of post-legislative stage, so here that would be the answer and all of the above. D is not the answer. Which of the following statement is incorrect? Policy making is a dynamic process. No, that is a correct statement, that policy making is actually a dynamic process. It is also a continuous process. Only after president gives his assent, the bill is notified and and known as law of the land. Yes, very true, that only after a president puts his signature on a draft law passed by both the houses of parliament, then and then it could become law in our nation. Next, president can never send the bill for reconsideration once passed by the both of the houses of parliament. No, that is totally incorrect. If president feels like that there is not the correct time to pass the bill, or there is some error within the bill, there must be some say reconsideration of the same, he may reject signing this draft bill which is passed by both the houses and pass it for the reconsideration to the houses of the parliament. So the statement is incorrect and C is the answer. When making of law, when making a law, main line of actions are first decided upon and detailed sub policies are made then after. It means the purpose for which the law is made is first decided, accordingly the law is first draft, and then after the rules are made, that the way in which the procedures will be taken up, what would be the administration, what would be the amount of penalties for breaking the law and all, they are decided on a later date. But the first content which is to be decided by the parliament is the basic core part for which the law is made. Next, About dash of population was below poverty line in 1951. The data are given in the book. It is 47%. Dash percentage of population was employed in agriculture during 1951. The answer is 72%. About dash of the workforce were employed in industries during 1951. Now that the answer is correct. That is 2%. The Constitution of India was formed and accepted in. Now the answer is, it is 26th of January 1950. All of you may be aware that the Constitution of India was formed and accepted by the Indian citizens and the president and the ruling party in year 1950 on the Republic Day, 26th January 1950. It almost took more than 2 years to make our constitution by none other than our founder of the laws and the maker of the laws of India. But it was finally done with very good use of legislation. Next. Soviet Union is a good example of dash economic model. The answer would be, it is socialist form of economic model. They are following that socialistic pattern. Public policy in India are formulated with a view to achieve following: socio-economic developments, yes; national integrity, yes; C, both of the above; D, none of the above. Both of the above is the correct word. National integrity means to keep our society and the culture and the citizens safe from every sort of danger of damage. And socio-economic development means bringing our economy a step ahead than what we are at present. Both of them are the objective at the present time. Next, what may be good for economic development may not be good for national integrity. Whether the statement is correct or incorrect, yeah, it is totally correct that sometimes in Indian history we have seen that there are few steps which are not good from the viewpoint of national integrity, but they are still needed for economic development of our nation. So the statement is to be marked as correct and true. Next. Dash percentage of FDI is now allowed in single brand retailing. It is 100% of FDI is now allowed into single brand retailing. Next, which of the following is not a route for FDI in India? Again, automatic route, approval route, FIPB route, none of the above. None of the above is the answer. All the three are the routes. Basically, there are only two. FIPB is part of nothing but the approval route. Next, FDI is not prohibited in dash of the following, from the following: atomic energy, lottery business, single brand retail, and Nidhi companies. Again, the answer is clear that it is not say prohibited in single brand retailing. Apart from that, in lottery or you can say atomic energy, it is totally prohibited. Nidhi companies also. So by this we complete our MCQs from the Naukar material for the chapter 4 of business commercial knowledge, I would look forward to say any queries from your end. The contact details of Naukar are available with you. Be in touch. Goodbye.
If you like this video, share it with your friends. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch more such videos and learn from our expert faculty members. Press the bell icon to get regular notifications whenever we upload a new video. Download NDI mobile app to get complete CA course online. We value your support. Thank you for watching.